Hey, hey, Jim the GM, and we are playing a second game. I know, crazy, right? Two games in a row of Dungeons and Dragons. We're playing in the Eberron setting, and I've got with me tonight, let's see, I've got Flu and Quinn and Den. That's a nice, odd situation. Caleb, Matt, and Mike, all the one syllable names. Yep, we're all a bunch of superpowered people slash professional wrestlers with the one syllable or share. I don't know. Cool. So let's just go ahead and introduce yourselves, introduce your characters, give us a little bit of a description, and we'll get a little back on what's going. Going from starting on my right, I got Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm Mike. I'm playing Den, which if it becomes easier somehow, you can blend his first and middle name, Denander, into one word. I don't think it's any easier, though. So Den is a wizard, and I think he's been working around the line, just kind of fixing things up after we got back from our last quest. Yeah, just trying to make himself useful, waiting for something more important to need his skills. Yep.
Will you give us a little bit of description of what he looks like as well?
Yeah, great. So Den is a fair-haired, kind of light blonde, tall, thin human. And probably just seeing him walk down the street, you wouldn't notice, but if you've seen him cast spells, you might know that he is dragon marked, and his mark shows on his forearm and hand when he casts spells. Other than that, he's just kind of a spindly guy. Keeps to himself a lot. He's often seen playing with his marionette or carving new faces for it.
Very cool. Matt.
I am playing Corsair Quinn, a dark-skinned, tattooed halfling, covered in lines of body paint, and I have a thick top knot of dark, stringy hair that flows all the way down my back. The whole 3 feet of my back, and wearing mostly sort of tribal leathers with a pair of hatchets and a shield hanging on the side. And I have what seems to be these sort of ancestral-looking beads hanging around my neck. Corsair Quinn is a barbarian who last time got swarmed by bats and got severely bitten by a warg. And in retrospect, I thought of a very interesting skin for the particularly nasty bite that he took, which would have been that the warg actually picked Quinn up and shook him like a dog's toy before dropping him back onto the ground. And so Quinn has this in his mind as he starts this new day.
Nice. Caleb, go ahead.
Cool. I'm Caleb. I am playing Flu. He is a long stride shifter. Specifically, he's pretty mousy. He has kind of swept, rigid hair that sort of aims up and away from his chin. That is this very orange-red that kind of pulls off. His ears sit a little further back on his head. But other than that, other than his nose kind of capping it off, his eyes and his mouth region looks pretty normal, pretty standard, pretty human, I should say. Not normal or standard, just human. He wears a variety of different clothes on any given day. His recent, that's actually what he spent some of his money on. And I will record that, but he's bought himself a couple of new outfits because he doesn't like to work in his good clothes and he doesn't like to hang out in his work clothes. So, but one thing is always consistent. He has these epaulettes that sit, that are, sort of circular in nature and frilled even, that come down off of it. That is this sort of mix of leather and steel that sit and tie across his chest. But yeah, other than that, he sort of has a short sword sitting at his side. He's kind of weird. Every once in a while, Corsair, Quinn, or Din might see him sort of in the middle of like talking to them or something. And he just sort of freezes and his eyes just start like dancing all over the place, sort of looking in all different kinds of directions. And he sort of shakes it off. And it's almost like a tick. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. And when asked about it, he has no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, other than that, that is Flu. There's probably nothing really interesting else about him. I don't think there's anything that necessarily makes him super unique. Other than, the way he talks, Bhavani Faraj is the Flu, and he is for real, and he's here. Yeah, it's Faraj.
I had almost forgotten. There's no forgetting. Got it. So, let's see. Quinn, got a question for you.
Yep.
So, some time has passed. We can even say that it's been a good handful of weeks since your in helping out the goblin and his brothers to get their stuff around and retrieve what Zilch needed. So, tell me a story. Tell me something that may be a little mundane. What has Zilch sent you guys to do in this past week and a half, 2 weeks?
So, he's like you said previously, he's sort of an artificer.
Absolutely.
And he does get shipments of tools and all sorts of things regularly.
Yep.
Maybe I was thinking maybe it might be a particular type of tool or ingredient that he might have been after, and perhaps perhaps he sent us to track something down. Or perhaps the other thing that I'm sort of thinking about, just as you're asking me, is maybe one of his new ideas. He's trying to collaborate with a friend of his who he's lost touch with, and perhaps he sent us to try and track this person down. Because he hasn't heard from him for a while. I kind of like that idea better.
Nice. Mike, what is this friend's name that you guys had to track down? And what does he do?
I think it's actually Lyra, a woman who maybe she enchants like mundane tools for farmers to help them, or maybe like to better pick crops without hurting them, or I'm not sure. Like maybe that's what she does regularly, and Zilch has a a bigger idea of what she can use her skills for.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
just an enchanter.
Caleb, what is one of the issues that you guys ran into while trying to track down Lyra to find out more about how to get this enchanted harvester concept?
Well, something that Zilch, he thought perhaps to sweeten the pot for Olira, he would send out us to find him, and then, or excuse me, her, and then maybe we could in some way prove the worth by proxy for Zilch and kind of give her a reason to come back. The biggest problem, though, is there was a large fire that basically sort of all traffic was stopped and no one could get through this certain area. It wasn't a huge forest fire or anything like that, but it took a long time to put it out, even with all of the magic and everything like that. So when we arrived where we were told she was supposed to be, it turned out that she left, and we don't have, or at least we were stood there without having a great lead, not really knowing where she went.
Awesome. Awesome. So then back to Matt then to finish this story off. Matt, what was Zilch's response to not being able to necessarily track down Lyra and having missed the opportunity for this connection?
I want to say that the reaction was twofold. That when we sort of got back to him and sort of just started to say, you know, we haven't quite, you know, we weren't able to quite get to her. His initial reaction was just like this unusual, completely uncharacteristic spark of anger. That when we were like trying to, you know, talk about why we weren't able to do it and about this fire and stuff, he sort of realized that, you know, that there were, you know, a lot of people affected by that, and so he sort of calmed down a little, and then the sort of anger sort of transformed itself into curiosity, and he's like, well, I want you to find out all about this fire. It seems really unusual that it took so long to put out. It seems like it was just you know, put there to stop whatever I was doing. And it's sort of like what's the word, when you think that something's against you, but it's really not.
I know what you're talking about. Like when you think that
Paranoid.
Paranoid.
Yeah, he's gotten a bit paranoid as the second sort of thing, and he's like, oh, someone's obviously put this fire here, and all those poor people for you know, that got in the way, and he's completely against what we've maybe seen of Zilch up to date.
Awesome. So now with that issue and that response still pretty fresh on your minds, he's kind of left you to your devices. You guys have been doing your chores. You've been helping out and taking care of things in the community of the line and at his shop, and he calls you each leaning out the window, going down to the basement. He doesn't know if you're chasing rats again or if you're outside, but he starts calling for you, sending runners, and when you guys make it back to his shop, he's behind the counter waiting for you, and without saying a word, sees you like looking up from some of his from one of his ledgers, sees you, turns around, hops off the stool he's been leaning over on behind the counter, and you can see just the top of his hat behind the desk as he goes back into his workroom again. Following him back there, you get in there just in time to see him stepping up onto a small raised platform around a larger central table, and on it it's covered in papers. Easily you can see that he's got maps all thrown out beside him, books and scrolled documents laying out, and he walks over around this raised, for lack of a better term, it's like he's walking around the exterior bench of this raised table just so he can have the height on it, and he walks over to a recently drawn map. And without even looking up, he goes, "So I think I found something." And he looks up. This could be real good. But yeah, here. And he just puts his hand on the map, spins it, and pushes it towards you.
Yeah. I think it probably gets spun around and like face towards one of the other two. And Flu reaches over and puts his hand on the middle of it and kind of pulls it over in front of him and spins it so that he's looking at it where up is north. It's like, okay, what am I looking at?
Well, if you look right over there, you can see, I mean, there's not like a whole lot for you to have to look at, but well, about it. And he walks over beside you and he puts his finger, he goes, "Here's Fort Deep Dark. Here we are, just south of Volyar, right? If you go to about," he puts his finger on the X, "based off of the documents that I've got, based off of some old, well, for lack of a better term, this looks like it could be, looks like there's a mound. It's out toward that part of Karnath. I mean, again, it's almost to Linta Plains, but it looks like there could be a mound out there that nobody's noticed yet."
Well, like a pitcher's mound? What do you mean?
Like a burial mound.
And he kind of sits there and looks at Zilch and looks down. And he actually would probably look over to Corsair. And he says, what do you think? Does this look like something that might happen in in your culture?
Yeah, we bury people in mounds. Make sure that they're buried deep, and then pile of rocks on top.
But the rocks on top, you probably don't put it like near water or anything, right? Because that would be dangerous with leakage. Is there any like special things that when you see 3 trees in a row, that's a stack of rocks waiting to happen? Is that like, do you have rules like that?
Well, hold on. I really don't think this is going to be a halfling mound. This could be bigger.
Like a human mound. Because the halfling is. Anyway, no, I'm sorry, sir.
No,
go ahead.
Not bigger like human, which I believe it is, but bigger like more important. historically, this could be incredible if what it is what I think it is. And having never heard of anyone finding this, all I find is the stories. And he leans forward and puts his hands on the table and he says, I have reason to believe that this mound belongs to Rena Dedenieth.
Yeah,
Bring
he's
it.
looking at him like, who? Like, he hasn't said anything. He's just like, okay.
If you want to make a history check, you can.
I would love to.
I think Flu would be making a history check, but not in reference to the name. He would want to make the history check to see if he can recall any, like, I don't know, terraforming or changing of this specific area, or has it always looked like was there an earthquake that caused something, or was there a tornado that, a magical tornado that shifted the ground? He's trying to think of events in history that why this place might be different now than it ever was. And there may not be a reason, but he's trying to see if he can recall such a thing.
So
I rolled a 16, by the way.
okay, you got a 16. Rena Dedenieth is the first ever human to have the mark of the Sentinel. So,
I think it's Denieth.
Denieth,
Yeah, it's like D-E-N-E-I-T-H.
EIT.
Yeah, Deneath. Like
Cool.
Keith with my name on the front of it.
I'll go Deneath then.
I feel
Cool.
like it should really be Dennis.
No. So, so again for you, Matt, Rena Dedenieth, Deneath. How do you say it in Australia, Matt?
I think I've just said Deneath. I think I also said Deneath at one stage, but yeah, Deneath is probably the easiest.
Deneath, got it. I have a friend named Deneath.
My name's Dennis.
Deneath. Wait, no. Deneath. Wow, we are really like hooked up on this now. Deneath, Rena Deneath is the first human to have the mark of the Sentinel. Caleb, make another history check with that with advantage now. Because
do you want me to just roll the additional dice and say it was originally advantage?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. 16. 1-6.
That information, you're like, okay, so what could have happened? Like, what would have happened? Like, was there anything to change the land? And Rena Deneath that's terrible. The stutter. Deneath. When Den tells you that, she was the first one to have the mark of the Sentinel, all of a sudden it clicks who she was, mark of the Sentinel, and tells you this happened about 2,600 years ago is when she lived. And from there, you're like, there's nothing to say that anything happened around here.
It's impossible to tell. There's no history of it.
Yeah, there's no history of giant earthquakes to change the landscape.
Cool.
But you've got 2,600 years. I think this mound could house her tomb, says Zilch. And
now, I like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, if no one has found it, I mean, everything, and he's gesturing at the notes on his table and maps, and he's like, no one has ever mentioned having found where she was buried. No one, like, it even just says that in the documents that after they had come to what would be our home, Karnath, after having appeared with the mark, I mean, it tells stories of her exploits. It tells bits of her life, and that she was buried as a hero, and that's it. But I have a very good reason to believe that this could be her burial mound.
All right, Silch. That's all well and good, but if it is her burial mound, it's probably well protected.
Right.
The mark of a sentinel isn't known for being easily pierced. Do you have some way in that we don't know about?
No, not at all.
Oh, great.
In fact, for as old as it is, and there not being any other records, I doubt even House Deneath knows it exists there. Almost as if it's just a family legend. Even being able to prove that it exists there could be invaluable for the scholars and the family to have that. But, and he smiles real broadly, that's not why I want you to go there. The reason that I came across this information and my search and my history and my research has brought me to this. Well, I think that she was buried with a rod. And that this rod they called the Bloodhound. So there are stories passed down. Catch this. This gets real good. And this rod could mark a target, a person, a creature. And trigger any house beneath mark should they come near it. As if they had marked it personally. That's rad.
So you want it, don't you?
I wanted to sell it. But let's just say that in trying to get my feelers out to see if this would actually be house beneath, I came across a buyer who was very interested in purchasing it. If you catch my drift.
So you want us to break into a tomb, take a rod that's, you know, Denise proper, you know, property, really, just been buried, and sell it to someone else because
priceless rod. Don't forget that.
Yes, right. Priceless. This guy's got it.
I don't have a problem going many places, but disturbing the spirits can be unwise.
Oh, I agree. As I said, if you could just prove that the mound is there, obviously out in the middle of nowhere, and let's be honest, who wants to go near the forts anyway, right? But out in the middle of nowhere, throughout all the plains, they roll anyway. Who's going to think that that rolling portion is going to be a mound?
And what sort of proof is going to be sufficient?
Well, and he walks over a couple of steps on the table, grabs an Eberron shard, and walks it over and slides it right in front of you, Quinn. He goes, I've enchanted this. This, if you hold it up to your eye, wide open, and then blink, whatever you're looking at will be stored inside of that. But it's only good once.
You can't like crank it for more.
Crank it?
Never mind. That wasn't in character voice.
So I shouldn't, take a picture of the moon and bring it back.
What if we all stand in front of it and then like hold it out?
Well, then who's gonna blink? That doesn't work. I'm unimpressed. No.
All right, so you just want us to look at this mound through this shard and blink. I mean, should there be some sort of symbol on if this is a mound where someone's been buried? Would it have some sort of coat of arms or
not on the mound? No. Over 2,600 years, I am almost certain that whatever coat of arms or decoration on the exterior that might have existed has either weathered away or been buried.
So who's to say that what we're looking at isn't just a great big owl?
Right. So you're going to have to somehow get inside to prove it. Don't worry. Don't disturb the spirits. I understand. But what I also do understand is that there may be other things inside. She is not using them anymore. And let's call them historical artifacts.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I think Den perks up as well. It's like, yeah, didn't think of it that way.
You can call it something that if you want to keep them, if they have any value to you, be my guest. I would be happy to purchase anything that you find there. At the same time, you can keep anything that you find if you choose to, if it's got any value to you. All except the rod, of course.
So this rod, it's just a big stick. Would it have the nose of a bloodhound, like effigy kind of thing looking, or?
Oh no.
Yeah, I'd really like for you to describe in detail the rod. I sound a little bit. I sound a little bit. Go ahead.
You're right.
All I can tell you about the rod is, well, it's about as long as elbow to wrist. And he looks at the three of you and almost points the halfling and then moves over to Quinn, or moves over to Den. Your arm, elbow to wrist, about that long. It's about as wide as, points at Quinn, your wrist. And
I just love the flash forward, and we're standing in front of this thing, like trying to measure to make sure.
well,
I think it's no. This isn't it. Toss it.
You've gone through and just torn things off walls measuring. No, and it's all right. And they call it the Bloodhound because it gets everybody, as I said. But there's nothing really to suspect that it, has a dog on it. If anything, House Didinia's crest. I mean, you could look for that, especially if you've got underneath. If you've got the Eberron shard, something to prove that it's there. If you could find something marking her name, or if you could even find something with their crest on it. Don't know how familiar you are with the crest, but the crest is that of a chimera. They have, red dragon head, goat head, lion head, fist with double-ended dagger on it, If you could find that in that mound, I'm pretty certain that whether or not it's Rena's, it'll be something that House to Deneth would be happy to know about.
So what is that? Like some sort of divination, abjuration? What? I know the wizards. This guy, he's got his nose in the book all the time. What would you say that that one smells like?
What it smells like?
Yeah, yeah, like because this guy's got his nose in a book.
Maybe abjuration. It depends on whether it's more closely related to somehow the mark itself, or if it was some sort of item crafted with a spell. I'm not sure where that comes from. And if it's not something crafted from a spell, but is somehow related more closely to the dragon mark, more than likely it won't be related to any of the magical schools either.
Cool. Flu stands up and gets away from the table and grabs. Actually, takes the same map that he used on our. He pulls it out of his pocket from our last adventure and flips it over, and again does a quick copy of the little area that will be important to us. And then he starts pacing and kind of walks out of the room and back into the room. Kind of looks around. He seems kind of fidgety. And he thinks of something and walks back out and then turns and walks right back in and sits there. And it's just kind of looking at you guys.
So how long do you reckon it's going to take us to get out there? You say it's near the borders to Talenta Plains? Sounds like it'd be some decent sort of travel.
Well, that's about where we are right now, isn't it? And if you go northeast, east by northeast, I told you it's over by the fort. So if you'll head over that way, but do be careful. You don't want to get too close to Fort Deep Dark.
They're not friends of yours over there?
They're not really friends of many people, but again, the further off you go away from here, the more likely you are to also be caught up by some Valinor raiding party. From outside, you hear the sound of the familiar sound of a wagon and horses. It could be anybody from the community, but you also hear, "Hey, I'm here, Zelch." And Zelch goes, "Zenstill's here." Depending on which way he came from, you might be able to hop a ride with him for most of the way.
That's pretty fortuitous. I'm gonna go check on him.
Fortuitous. Thanks, Leon. Cool. So while he walks away, Quinn, Din, what are you guys doing?
I think Quinn would just, I don't know, start packing some supplies and getting ready for the travel. I think I don't think he would do anything ritualistic yet, but I think he probably will when he gets to this place. So
Okay. So
I think with the news of this new adventure we're going on, Den's gonna approach Quinn about doing a little something with his weapon. Den's been working on his spellsmith ability, which he gets through his mark, which allows him to get a +1 or bless an item with +1. Oh, it's for the next hour. I'll hold off. We don't need that yet.
cool then. When you make it outside, Zinstel and his 2 brothers are still sitting up on the cart.
Stand still. You found your brothers.
Ah, yeah, you know it. They always make it back. I mean, the family's got to stick together, right? And I'll be honest, I'm really not the brains of what's going on. I typically drive. So having them around has been good for business, especially after finding them. And one of the brother goes, "That's right. We lost so much money until you came back and found us." And the other one, who looks exactly like the first brother, goes, "That's right. So much money. We could have made so many Galifars more. But no, you let people buy everything for crowns. Crowns. We owe so much money right now." Galifars are gold, crowns are copper. So 1/100th of the price.
Hey, yeah, which where did you make all these crowns at?
After I dropped you guys off, I went to the Northeast and hit a couple places, came back, went to the Northwest, picked up my brothers. We're back. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Don't worry about it. So you said 2 directions. Is the next direction south, east, west? Which way? And he looks at his map.
I just came from the Northwest, and I'll have to go back up to Valyar, but then I'll be heading back to the Northeast towards the mountains. Why?
Does that help us at all? And he's kind of turning and looking at the other 2.
You're the cartographer. I don't.
Well, if he's going northwest and then northeast, the northwest doesn't really help us much. But
here's one of the maps you're familiar with from the wall.
Blue literally pulled the map away from us to look at it.
You guys are down here at the line. There's Voyar, and you've got to go this way.
Oh,
so came from this way.
So it does help us.
So he's going northwest. Cool. So
that's northeast. He's going that way.
So yeah. So what do you think? Is it I'm guessing you didn't bring anything for Zilch here, so maybe you could repay him, and we could hop a ride for free. What do you think? For free?
Yeah, maybe we could offer some protection. Seemed like you needed after the last trip. Seems like a fair trade.
Make one of you make a persuasion roll, and you can make it at advantage because that help is nice help.
I'll roll if that's cool, unless you just want to.
No, do it.
That is a crit 20.
All right,
23.
Absolutely. Before Zinstel can answer, his brothers are like, "Yes, Yes, we want that. That would be great. This is a really good idea. Zenstall, no. Zenstall was like, well, we can pay you guys to. As he's reaching for money in his first book, he's like, yeah, we'll pay you guys to help. And they're like, no, yes, you guys can
No,
ride.
let him talk.
You can ride for free. We appreciate any help that you may have. We only have a couple of stops before we make it to Irontown. So you just tell us where you want us to drop you off along the main Orient Road, and we will, or take you to whichever town. In fact, where are you guys going? You said you're going northeast, so where do you want us to take you?
Well, we don't want to get too close, but we got to get. It's up near the fort, up near Deep Dark. But
Well,
obviously, we don't want to disturb
Right.
the fort.
No problem. The main road is actually about a day's ride north of Deep Dark, so we can totally get you there. Yeah, you even let us know where you want to get off. In fact, going through that part of Karnath, it's always good. We've been hearing more about some Valinor raiding parties getting a little bit more brash with their attacks.
That far north?
I know, right?
You've still got your crossbows, right? Goblin Brothers still have your crossbows.
Oh yeah. In fact, they pull them out from there and they're like, we upgraded. These two guys are literally like what you see in like Japanese movies or Chinese movies where they pull the bowstring with their hands and use their feet to hold in position. They've got the crossbow pressed up against the back and they're holding it ready to pull.
Basically a siege weapon, but
Yeah. At least to them. So, if it's all right with you, it's getting close to evening. Can we eat, make our trades, leave in the morning?
Yeah, no, that sounds real good. I like that.
Sure. Can I sit down with you and maybe have a chat about these patrols that you seem to know about?
Sure. And one of the other brothers was like, you know what? Come with me, Zilch or Zenstall. You unload the cart. And Zenstall was like, okay. And so he steps off to the side. So what can I do for you?
So what Corsair would ask, he's actually fairly concerned. He hasn't been down to the Talenta Plain since he left. And certainly the patrols never sort of came up this far north. In fact, we only sort of had trouble with them once or twice, probably. So in his mind, it's if this caravan is reporting that they're raiding that far north, he's concerned about what they're doing in the plains themselves and how much impact they're having with his clans.
I don't know how much. Honestly, I'm not really familiar with how aggressive those Valinor elves are with the people of the plains, sir. But I do know that they've kind of got it out for the people of Karnath. Some of the outposts been mentioning that they've seen Valinor elves riding distance, and that's hard to believe, but As we stop off in some villages here and there, we keep hearing similar stories.
All right. Well, he takes us in. His usual fairly casual demeanor is a little more somber. He's like, oh, maybe I should send word down there and find out what's happening. I don't know if that would be welcome, but I'll have to have a think about it. Maybe I can find out what's happening anyway as we go. But thanks for the info.
You're welcome. You're welcome. See you guys in the morning.
Just real quick, are they the people that are living in the area that people can't survive in anymore, or don't survive in anymore? These raiding parties.
Oh no! They're not from the Mournland.
Right.
So the basic part of the map is Karnath, Talenta Plains, Valinar.
Oh, okay.
And the Talenta Plains is long.
Right. Okay, cool. I just wasn't sure, and that's the first place my mind went. I didn't.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
so they're traveling hundreds of miles, right?
Right.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
And they are differently dangerous than what I was going through in my head. So.
Differently, yes.
Yeah.
Does Zilch have like a research area or a personal library or something, some area where I could do some research?
Absolutely.
I think I would probably try and find, if there are, a couple of books, maybe some that go through the exploits of Rena D. Deneth, whatever. Just not necessarily a biography, but things that, kind of go a little more in depth about her. Then I would try and find a book that gave me a history of just the house itself. So there may be a little bit of overlap, but I think if there are at any point, like if somebody drew a scene of something famous that Rena did, I think he would take some time to really familiarize himself with those images, or buildings and things like that, trying to get an understanding of like maybe what he's going into. But that's all he's doing.
Okay. Cool. So you're going to do that tonight. Then let's go ahead, and with that, let's make an investigation roll. And let's make it at disadvantage, because yes, Zilch has a library, but it takes up the corner of his workroom. So the likelihood that there's a book here with the information that you're looking for is not very high.
And if he does have it, he's probably got it somewhere where he's been looking at it with away.
Even if it's away, if it's something that he might have extra outside of that, then it'll be available to you in the roll. Okay, and rolling a 9, you were able to find some information on Rena Deneth, and it basically gives you that the record of account. She was the first one to appear with it. She was it gives you a little bit of, she was the daughter of so and so Deneth, and it was when this appeared. Here was the event, and it's not like detail. It's like it was this, and she was on this quest trying to do X, and this happened, and then this appeared, and when that appeared, all of a sudden she realized something strange was going on. She had her target. All of a sudden, the target ran, and she seemed to know where he was, following him through. Like it's obviously, as you read more of it, the details are more fantastic than the story can be, but the general feel of what it is real. However, there's not much more to go with than this. And she lived a great life all the way into the age of 62, at which point, for a handful of years, she took her turn as the head of House Beneath and died a peaceful life.
And I think you would probably skim through it the first time, and then the second time go right back through, read the same thing, specifically trying to pull out a couple of things that wouldn't necessarily have weathered with time if left untouched. Like, she had a helmet that was she grabbed her horse helmet or something like that, or then she whipped out, even if they were like fantastical descriptions of things that might have been normal. He's trying to figure out, okay, if I come across a fucking bow and arrow that has whirligigs all the way down it, we know that was hers. You know, he's looking for, and you don't have to tell me that stuff right now, but he's trying to find any reason, any clue that when he gets there, he can take a picture of this thing and be like, here's your proof.
There is nothing to dictate that there would be something as such, but make another investigation roll for me. No disadvantage.
That one's a 19.
Okay, but you do have enough of your wits about you that, with what Zilch has said and what he's found, and putting some pieces together, that if it is her tomb, and with how the oral traditions, and they make her a bigger deal, there will definitely be something to, not like a headstone, but something more obvious, like, and we've carved her name over the door, kind of situation. It will definitely be marked. It's that something has happened to cause it to be lost over the centuries. And the night passes. And you guys are able to jump onto the wagons. Let's see, Dan, did you happen to maybe get some spells prepared to, I don't know, you mentioned before our game, Expeditious Retreat. If you've got that prepared, I'm certain that the goblins would appreciate. What is that? Is that an hour?
I don't have that, no.
Oh, okay.
I did not take it.
Longstrider? No.
No. Not this level.
Well, you then you're able to ride with them. Along the way, it's a well-traveled road the whole way. You stop off in Voyar, get some stuff taken care of, make yourselves out to be the muscle that you are, and unless there's anything else, y'all move on to a long journey, stopping off in small villages, even smaller than the line, until finally you watch as Zenstil pulls up short and looks at you guys and goes, I think this is where you want to be. Just over that way, and he's pointing off to the side of the road in a diagonal. That'll be the fort. So I wouldn't go too far that way. Obviously, that way is south. That'll take you to the plains, and if you're done, you can just follow back on the road.
I think Flu would have the map out, and he kind of would have been lightly tracing how far they'd gone. And he's looking, and he's thinking to himself, maybe we could get a little closer. But yeah, no, this looks good. What do you guys think? I think it's time we should go.
Sounds good.
All right, yeah.
I think as we're walking away from the wagon, Den's gonna cast prestidigitation to make like a farty smell coming out from where Zen still is, just to kind of play a playful prank on him, make his brothers angry at him.
His brothers are like, Zinzel's like, yeah, and his brother's like, oh, what in the nine hells? That's terrible. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, this is so bad. I'm sitting in the back. You know what? I'm sitting on the horses. And both of the brothers move forward to the horses to stay in front of him. Well, I'd rather smell this. And so now here we are. As you're watching them ride away, you watch two of them climb up, riding on the two horses, with Zen still in the back driving, and then the whole cart behind him full of crap.
Perfect. Right, so we're off to the burial mound.
Yep. After walking for a few hours, getting away from the road, you can easily see why this place may have been lost, if it exists in the first place. Everything out here is rolling plains. It is not flat fields. This is all just constantly rolling hills. Sometimes you'll see what looks to be a single old, what might be a mound, but as you get closer, you realize that it's a rolling hill that you're seeing from the end. So from that, let's see. Can I get, let's see, Quinn and Din, you can make perception rolls, and Flu, because you are looking at the map and you are a cartographer as well, let's say that you can use, you can make a cartography check, so it'll be proficiency and wisdom. Oh. Oh, I love it. Okay. So looking at it right now, Flu, you are looking at the map. You are literally, you are focused on it, and you are still busy lightly tracing that path. You are trying to make sure we get to where you're trying to go, not necessarily keeping track of your error around there. Ben?
I definitely think that Flu is trying to, I would say that this would be his first experience with this type of terrain. Just these rolling hills. He's been in places where there have been hills. He's been in places where it's been flat, mountains, water, forests, whatever. But this is definitely his first experience with this abundance of just, like, it's almost dizzying kind of looking at it. So I think this might be a learning experience for him as he decides it might be best just to look at the map.
Got it. So then, Den, you're doing a pretty decent job looking around. You find a couple of spots, and as you're looking around, they'll point out to it, and you'll be like, "Hey, right there!" And Flu is still going, "I don't think we've gone far enough." Oh, let's check that out. And you guys go over, and Flu thinks that you guys should, like, this could be it. You're spotting something that should meet your need, but it's not it. Quinn, you're only doing slightly better. Still, it feels a bit of a wild goose chase. Let's see, Flu, you're currently following the map. However, Quinn, what you do pick up on is you see a patch where the grass over the plains has kind of cleared out, and you see some hoof prints.
Oh, I let Fetsum have a good smell of that, of the hoof prints. I see. So, I mean, I'm gonna before he does, I'm gonna have a good look to see if it just looks like a single set or if it looks like might be multiple, and especially how deep they might be, because Elven forces tend to ride fairly light. So yeah, taking a pretty good gander of those.
Okay, make a survival check for me.
No worries. Rolled bad, so I have 11.
Okay, that's enough to be able to tell that there are multiple sets of hoof here.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Upon seeing them, obviously, I would point them out to the rest of the group, and let Fitsum have a bit of a smell around, and just say like he's not a yeah. I would sort of say how to say remember it to adopt to a mount. I don't know. I'll have a think about that.
Okay. Okay. So those hoof prints have been pointed out to the rest of you. What would you like to keep doing?
I think I would. So you said we found something that we thought could be it, but it's not where I think it is on the map?
Correct.
What, like a hobbit hole door in the side of a hill? What are we thinking?
You think you find a mound, and you have talked them out of that mound being able to be it because it's not where you believe it to be.
I mean, Flu is not above being wrong. I think he would look at the map and he would show it to him and give him all the evidence as to why it's not there. And then he'd say, yeah, so so just try it out. I mean, how do we get in there even?
It's right now it just looks like a rolling hill. And he's like, could this be it? Do we need to start digging or looking around here? And you're like, and that's when you're like, it shouldn't be here. It's not like you found an entrance or a doorway.
And also, wasn't this thing supposed to have been forgotten? These hoof prints don't look forgotten to me. But, I think Den is going to cast Detect Magic. Kind of basically try and change the level on which his perception is operating.
Okay. As you detect magic, looking around, Nothing. You're not getting smells of cinder and ice wind. You're not getting magical auras in your vision.
Does it seem like magically nothing?
Magically nothing. It does not.
Like something's hidden?
It does not feel as though something has been magically hidden. You're because even then, whatever spell would still leave some sort of trace.
Okay, well, I think he's maintaining his concentration for now, but he's kind of like, we should move.
Yeah, I think I would probably make a look around to see if I could see horses, around, because maybe it's just wild horses.
They're just over the next hill.
It's
a herd of horses.
Just watching us.
With your passive perception, you don't see any horses.
Okay. So then I would check the map and I would look at where we're at. And on the map, I would try and face myself. So we think this thing could be a mound, but we know it's not a rolling hill.
Right.
Okay.
You believe, based off of what Zilch has given you, that if it was once like a mausoleum, that it's not been eroded, it may have just been covered. So that means it would be more dome and mound shaped rather than long and extending.
I mean, so then that would be apparent to everybody that this is something. Right? It must be.
It could be.
Quinn would sit on the grass and he would close his eyes and he would meditate on the spirits that he believes in, that are his religion and his upbringing. And he would try and, ascertain a message from them as to where their resting place might be. There's nothing mechanically for that in D&D, but that's what Quinn would do.
I think while you're doing that, Den's continued walking on and notices that you sat down. He's like, "Oh God," and it breaks his concentration. He's like, "What the? I thought we were gonna go." Okay, do your thing, and I'll just keep an eye out, I guess.
Somebody make me a survival roll.
I'll make my terrible survival roll.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a negative or anything, but 8.
Okay. You begin to check out the horse prints and try to follow them, but you lose them fairly quickly.
So how where I think we are and where I think we're supposed to be, what direction are they from one another?
You feel as though you've not walked far enough, so you need to keep going southeast.
Southeast, okay.
And the hoof prints were leading in which direction? Well, we didn't get that. We just got that there was multiple.
You just got there were multiple.
All right. After, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, I think having not heard anything the spirits, or maybe hearing, garbled messages, Quinn would.
As you begin to get up, you hear in Halfling, "Why do you call me son?"
Wow. So
I rolled a d20. I was like, "Sure, let's do this. You got a 1 in 20 chance. That's a nat 20. All right. Better for you that I rolled a nat 20 now, right?"
Right. Cool. So I think that Quinn would have this, would have like a procedure that he's learned of deference when a spirit actually spoke to him. So he would follow that.
You're following the procedure, but has this ever happened before? Where you call and pray and reach out to your familial spirits and they respond?
I have a connection with them in the sense that, yes, well, it's less of a physical speaking, more of an internal voice.
Okay.
Right. So if you liken it to many Christians' experience of God, it's not verbal. You can hear God speaking to you. It's an internal acknowledgement of some sort of voice.
Okay.
And so I've definitely heard an internal voice saying about, which is part of the reason why I was thrown out of the clan, because I had that. But I've never heard someone's voice as a halfling. So I am taken aback slightly, but I would definitely use the same deference as I've used before, and I would say, I am an outsider of these lands. We seek the burial grounds of a far distant, of long past hero of the humankind. And I would say I do not wish to anger or disturb her spirit, but it is told that there is a burial place amongst these rolling hills that has been lost, and finding it would mean that her clan could bring her to rest and them to rest, knowing that that's where she had passed.
I do sense the presence of someone special in this area. However, do beware. There are more, many more, in her presence, though she does not know them.
Whether it's truth or not, I think that I think that Quinn would sort of assume that maybe that would mean that many have died here, or maybe there's a battle or whatever. And so he would say, thank you for speaking. Thank you for your warning. Perhaps there's something that I could do to help you find your rest. And he would say, and he would look up and he would see the sun shining, and he would say, I look up to the sun. He would sort of face himself towards where it is, and he would say, where. I don't want to just directly ask where it is, because that's not really what Quinn would do. He would say, this special spirit, we wish to honor her, because his motivation is different to this goblins. We wish to honor her. Where might I seek from looking up at the sun?
You must follow the herd. Follow the man herd. And the spirit begins to fade away.
Yeah.
And one more time it says, follow the man herd.
All of this time, Quinn would have been speaking out aloud to a voice that no one else could hear, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask how everyone's reacting to this.
I think Dan is probably just. I feel like Dan probably thought you were weird just for stopping, and so you talking to no one is not that big a deal. Like, it's just another layer on the cake. So he's kind of like listening to you, but not surprised by you.
And I think that Flu, he comes from a very spiritual place. The Eldine reaches. He may not necessarily agree with or understand what you're doing, but I think he understands the moment and will stand there sort of quietly.
When Quinn rises, he says, the spirits have spoken and have said to follow the man herd, which I assume is where those hoof prints are. I could.
Well, I tried that one.
I could get Fitzamir to follow him a bit more closely. He's got quite the nose of it on him, even though he's the runt of the litter.
I wish I'd thought of that sooner.
Yeah, you got to think he's got a better nose than this guy. So, yeah, I'm on board with that.
So Fitzam has advantage on hearing and smell, not on sight. But I'm assuming that horses would leave some sort of scent. I don't know how long it was since they passed, though. If there's hoof prints, I guess you'll find out. You're muted.
Holy crap. That's another nat 20.
Okay. I mean, keep rolling those. We'll have a hell of a time.
Oh no.
and then stop in approximately 15 minutes.
Fitsum, you watch as the raptorish starts to sniff around, looks up in the direction that he believes that it's going to be going, goes down, and you watch as its nostrils flare as it breathes in slowly. Head cocked. And for a moment, it looks up at you, confused, and then starts walking along and then moves its head to follow.
Cool.
If you're going to ask us marching order, I believe Flu will be in the back eating cheese far from the dinosaur.
So, excuse me. So, following along, you get a real weird situation. Following along the hoof prints and following where Fitsum's going, yeah, it does. In about 40 minutes, does take you to a mound, and this mound does seem to have been dug out recently to an entrance, and not necessarily straight in, but dug down to where an entrance was. As again, this has been covered, and not just at ground level. Ground level has been raised up with the passing of wind and silt and sand from Talenta Plains until raising where the ground is and then continuing to cover it up. So the mound actually looks very small. And then you notice this. Like, you see this mound, but at the same time, Fitsum comes almost right up to the entrance, stops, turns left, and continues to follow the tracks to the northeast. Flu, to you, that absolutely means Fort Deep Dark.
On the map, are we where I think we should be?
Yeah, you're pretty confident that you are within a handful of miles of where you should be.
So this is a definite possibility.
Yes.
So yeah, if Flu would definitely share that information, and also his thoughts on where what's the dinosaur's name?
Fitsum.
Fitsum. Where Fitsum is sort of kind of taking a couple of steps and move that direction. You know, he says, yeah, you know, I think this might be the location, and I'm not sure I want to follow her any further.
I think what Quinn would do is, you know, try and find some sort of game or something nearby, and perhaps I've already caught something previous day I was waiting to give to Fitsum as a reward. I'm not sure, but
Sure. We can say that.
And, yeah, and we'd start to look around this this area.
All right. Would you like to go in?
There's no horses still here, right?
No horses.
But they lead off to the northeast. Okay. But this has been dug out, like we can see digging marks?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Let's see.
Perfect.
Yes, and even as far as Quinn and Flu, you can still see that further in, as it does begin to get darker, the further in that you dig. Let's say that the entrance to this mound is on the north side, that what they've dug out, so the sun is not shining into it. However, with your passive perception, you can see that further inside, shovels have been left there.
Okay, so I guess what Quinn would do is he would basically say to fit some guard, which would basically, he wouldn't ever come into an internal building. That's not what dinosaur mounts tend to do. But he would like call out. It's kind of like that avian arcing sound that you hear from Jurassic Park movies. Just not as big. Yeah. So if there's any danger, if someone approaches, he would call out and would keep himself safe by moving away. If someone actually came after him, he would just keep on trying to get away from it. But the guard command is just call out if there's a sighting of anyone that's not us, and then would definitely go inside this place for sure.
Yeah, as Flu is definitely excited about this, and he would be sort of right behind once they decided that they're going in. He'd, be the second one in basically. But as he does, he kind of gets a little bit of a headache, and when he opens his eyes, he kind of looks around, and he's maybe not even all the way through the door, but I will cast Detect Magic.
Okay, what's the range of Detect Magic, by the way?
30 feet.
Okay. All right. How does your Detect Magic work?
So I think what he sees is dependent upon the vision. When he has, because he does have some dark vision. When it's dark vision, everything's in those scales of gray and white and black and things like that. And certain things, if it is visibly magic, or if that's the way he perceives the magic, it tends to have like a red outline. If there is light and there are colors, then the things tend to shine more so than maybe is natural. But that's the only way that he's ever. That's the only way that he ever has detected magic. I suppose there could be other ways, but that's the thing he's trained to detect right away.
As how again?
So if it's dark, there's a red outline. If he's using his
Okay.
dark vision, if it's normal light or dim light or there's color, the thing appears specifically shiny.
Okay. All right. So, y'all have gone inside. Is that what we said? Or are you still outside? I'm seeing nods. Cool. So we've gone inside. Inside, after having gone back down, it is fairly dark down here. Low light or dim light, just from the bit of light that's still coming in from outside. There are a couple of wall sconces with torches in them, and your passive perceptions can see there are horse prints, hoof prints, all down in here. Also, let's see, Flu and Quinn, you also can see that there are small humanoid tracks down here as well in the dust. This whole room, there is a sarcophagus in the middle, about 8 feet long and 4 feet wide. The ceiling in here is only about 10 feet up, and everything from pillars in the corners to the floor, the ceiling, and the walls all seems to be worked stone. And there are hoof prints and small humanoid footprints, boot prints in the dust on the ground here. And your detect magic is not coming up with anything.
Quinn would have to light a torch. He cannot see in the dark.
Cool. You've got torches in the wall sconces, and they are happy to be lit.
Is the sarcophagus closed or open?
The sarcophagus is closed. If you'd like to make an investigation roll, you may.
I think right now, as far as Quinn at least is concerned, his attention is on these prints more than on the sarcophagus, at least in the sense that he's seen that it's closed. If it was open, definitely his attention would be on that. But being that it's closed, doesn't seem disturbed, at least on a first glance. I think he would be especially curious as to why there's all of these hoof prints down here in the dark. Seems very odd to Quinn. Yeah, if that's still an investigation to ascertain the nature of those, I will be happy to roll that.
Sure. You can make it
4.
It is odd. It is very, very odd. And you're like, how did they get horses down here?
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of the exact opposite is probably true of Den. He is like taken the horse prints to mean that there are no traps on the ground, and he's like kid in a candy store. There's artifacts to look at and decipher, and he wants to figure out what's going on down here.
There are no artifacts here.
Well, I mean, he thinks that we're in that place.
Okay. I mean, you are literally in a single room with a pillar in each corner, worked stone floor, worked stone ceiling, worked stone walls. There's the door out, sarcophagus in the middle of the room. That's it.
Well, guys, is it possible that there's more than one burial mound?
Flu would be looking at the sarcophagus closely, trying to see if he could find the Hydra symbol that was described.
Chimera.
Chimera, sorry.
Suddenly transferred into the Avengers.
It's still a 3-headed thing. That's
Yeah.
close.
If there's a Blue Eyes somewhere around here.
Cool. Go ahead and perception roll.
Uh, 13.
13. Looking around like you feel like you're doing a real good job to search for this, but there's just nothing.
So
then,
ever vigilant.
hold on.
Okay, sorry.
So you are looking around. You are focused on this sarcophagus, and as you're like, I don't have a clue. You lift up your hand picks up the dust that was there, and you can see remnants of painted onto the top of the sarcophagus, a simple, just 3 heads. Not the greatest artist of all time, but if you hadn't moved the dust that had been so thick on it, you never would have seen the painted.
So the sarcophagus, then, if I had to wipe that much dust off of it, is it safe to assume that nowhere on the sarcophagus is there less dust? Like, it doesn't look like whatever these horse people or man herd or whatever, they didn't disturb the sarcophagus at all?
You don't see handprints anywhere else, but now that you are looking for it and thinking about it, you are definitely seeing smudges all on one side of the lid of the sarcophagus.
With that dust out of the way, does it reveal anything specific?
It does not.
And where are these smudges at? If I'm looking and it's a person King Tut shaped sarcophagus, where on the top of this thing's head?
No, not King Tut shaped. It's a
Okay, it's just a block.
yes, with a lid.
Okay. I think he would probably. How tall is it?
It's raised up fully. It's only about 5 feet tall.
Yeah, so I think I'm about that tall. I am. So he would walk over to it with his head kind of sticking over the top, and he would kind of be feeling around to see if there's like a lid or something like that.
Make an investigation check for me.
21.
Got it. So as you were looking at it, looking for a way in, you realize that with your height, based off of this, that would have been if it was you and a bunch of people your size, somebody just threw their shoulder into this to push. So instead of handprints, somebody just used their shoulder to get it going.
Okay, and it's been closed back over?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the other side. Do I see the same smudges?
No.
Okay, so whatever closed it must have closed it from the same side. I think his curiosity gets the best of him. And he kind of looks down in this thing with his dark vision.
There's nothing to look down yet. You haven't moved it.
Oh, yeah, I think he's definitely sitting there now that I think everybody's focused on whatever they're focused on. And as he finally figures out how to open this thing, you hear the stone on stone. And he kind of stops and looks at the other two.
Oh, you better not be doing what I think you're doing.
So, I mean, I wasn't gonna, but to make sure if we was gonna take a picture, we need to know what's in there, right? We need to know whether for sure if it's her or not.
Quinn is not happy. He's crossed his arms. He's looking up at you. His head.
When he leans his hair back, all of a sudden the tip of the ponytail hits the floor. What?
Right, yeah.
I think he's looking at him, and he reaches into his pocket and kind of gets the cheese and takes a bite, and he's kind of waiting to see what your response is going to be. But at the same time, as he kind of pulls the cheese ball out of his pocket, he will cast Mage Hand, and the Mage Hand will come out and start dusting the whole thing off, so that if there's anything else to see, we'll be able to see it.
There is nothing to be able to see when you see it, but with the Mage Hand going to work at it while you're waiting there, it is long enough for you to see that the head of it is, as you're continuing to wipe off portions of, or wipe it off, the head has some gild work of solid silver.
Do I need to roll something to see if that means anything to me?
It doesn't initially. I mean, if you
Okay.
want to roll something, you can.
No. I think if it doesn't spark something to mind, then
Okay.
So I would immediately go into damage control mode, being warding off evil spirits. I would be. I have incense that I would immediately light, and I would be muttering under my breath, and I would be saying, "Spirits of this mound, please do not be angered for for we just come to see who first disturbed your rest." And yes, this would get louder and louder as time goes on, and I would pace up and down the length of the thing of the sarcophagus, which would take me a few seconds because I'm so small. I would just be pacing to and fro, waving the incense and trying to ward off anything bad that might happen. And I do not look happy.
I'm curious, what's Den doing right now?
I mean, I think Den's ready to open the sarcophagus. He's just, especially like you said, if there's nothing else in here, this is the one interesting thing. Unless we're going to take a picture and leave, we should dig in here. It's up for debate as far as I'm concerned, but I would like to open it. The rod might be in here. We can save ourselves a second trip.
So if you want to open it, it's going to take an athletics check. And in fact, it's going to take such an athletics check that currently none of you are able to do it on your own.
And there's no way in hell. Well, you might be able to convince him, but right now, Quinn's not inclined to help.
Yeah, I think Flu would definitely give you, time to walk around and do this for a little bit, and then he would say, "That's it's kind of like asking for forgiveness versus permission. Either way, it should work out for us, right? Like that's what you're doing right now. You're asking for forgiveness for something that I did. Let's just finish this, and then you can ask again later."
What could go wrong?
Plus, if nothing else, I gotta say this would be pretty big for you and for me and for Den here, to be able to say that we unearthed, what we think this is, what it could be. Stand to gain a lot of fame and notoriety, I'd say.
So Quinn would say, I'm having trouble putting on the Ocker Australian accent. He would say, the spirits told me that she's not alone. She wouldn't be alone, that there are many others that are buried or have died in this area.
Well, Quinn, I got to tell you, you should have said that before I almost opened the sarcophagus. But I appreciate you letting us know.
And it looks like it's been opened already. So perhaps reopening it would mean that I can re-perform the rites that have been vilified.
Yeah, so we need to check and make
sounds
sure
good to
they
me.
didn't desecrate the body. We gotta
Yeah, what he says.
we gotta check
that
on the
makes a
body
lot
to
of
make
sense.
sure it's still good.
Yeah, what he says.
And then, if there's anything in there that we can take it, and then you can do your rites, and
That's what he says.
we're back with zilch before you know it.
Bada boom, bada zilch. Let's open
Speaking
this
of
thing up.
zilch, he didn't offer to pay us for this one, so
Yeah, we got to bring something back as leverage,
gotta figure out
because the cart's gone. Those guys rode the horses, and this guy farted on them. I don't know what the plan is, but we got to have something.
All right. I'll help you then. Jim's still muted as far as I can see.
No, I'm not. I'm good. All right. Well, then to open it, you're going to have to each make athletics checks.
All right.
let me pitch this, Jim. What if I hold it and then cast jump on myself, and then I hold the lid and jump?
Can I lightning lure from the other side and pull it to me?
All right. 11.
And there's nothing written in here, correct? I don't see anything written.
Nothing.
It was just the painted symbol.
All right.
We're all doing athletics checks. I rolled a 10, which gives me a 9 total.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Awesome. To be able to move the lid on this sarcophagus, you had to get a combined total of at least 30.
Nice.
So you are able to move the lid with a good amount of effort. And as you move the lid, the smells that you would have expected to see, or that you would expect it to smell, do not waft up immediately. In fact, you look in and you expect to see a body or maybe even the rod, but instead what you find is it looks like a bronze disc with holes in it made into sections. In the base of the sarcophagus.
I think Flu looks at Quinn. So what do you think? I should grab your ankles and dip you in like you're bobbing for apples? What should I just go get it? I really want to get it.
I really want to get it.
Flynn looks up at you and just says, "Oh, you even try to pick me up."
The disc looks about, oh man, from side to side, a good nearly 5 feet wide inside of here.
It's heavier than the lid.
Actually looks like it's into the base of the sarcophagus, even going underneath the floor.
Is it a door? Is that a door? Can I do an investigation
it's like
check?
a lid, but it's on the bottom. It's a bottom lid.
It's a blid.
Lid.
The B lid.
You can make an investigation check. Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, crap. 12.
You are just wishing that there was some dust inside of this sarcophagus to give you a hint. But looking at it, you definitely believe that it's some sort of passage, but you have no idea how to work it.
Being that you've said that there's no body, would you say that there's nobody, like, out aloud? Because, like, Quinn can't see in there
Yeah, of course.
until he climbs up on it. Like,
oh, God, it's gruesome. Oh, it's
Yeah.
the most mutilated body I've ever seen.
It's
horrible.
It looks like you. Just smaller.
Smell. Oh God, I cast prestidigitation again. It smells just like the fart from earlier.
Sit still. Are you here to help?
Just kidding, little guy. It's there's a button or something in there. I'm not sure what's going on.
So I think Quinn would climb up, right? Pull himself up over the lid and look on in, see that there's nobody, and see that there's these holes in this disc. And I think he would then lose his grip and fall on in. And I think that he would, upon recovering and maybe dusting himself off a little, see if one of his fingers will fit into one of these holes.
Cool.
That's a safe game.
Yeah.
Talk about Jurassic Park sticking fingers in holes.
Got it. So you hop up inside the sarcophagus.
Right.
And you start trying to stick your fingers in the holes that are close to you on the side. And how do you plan on getting to the other side? Because this takes up the whole center of this portion. And even now you can see that this is like the interior of the sarcophagus goes below the floor level of where you are. And this disc spreads.
So there's no plan at all. Literally fall on in, see holes, try and poke, and whatever happens.
Way. How much do you weigh?
Like I think we're about. I got weight on here. I think halfling start at about 40 pounds and then add a small amount. Hang on. Halfling. So it says here 34 to 39 kilos on average. Whoa.
You're fritzing in and out there, Jim.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you there.
Better?
I heard you say better. That was all I heard.
Not better?
I can hear you now at this point.
You can't hear me?
I can, yeah.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Blurry, but yes.
I'm blurry.
Well, to me.
Yeah, it hadn't been great on my side most of the night, but
Yeah, you've been blurry most of the night for me too.
$35 plus 2d4.
yeah, audio only just started cutting out though, so how much do you weigh?
Am I better?
That video is way better.
Yeah, 35. So like 42 pounds.
Okay. So as you go and step onto the disc, then you feel a portion of it move under your feet, almost springing.
Okay. I say so. Feel the earth move.
I think Den's just like, now that is a great idea, and hops in with him. Like after he sees him falling, he thinks he did it on purpose. Going gung ho with him.
Got it. So you then, with your added weight, all of a sudden, the disc begins to stretch out. One of the portions of the disc staying in place as it all continues to lower and lower, becoming a set of spiral stairs due to your weight. And so from outside of it, Flu, you just watch them slowly go down into the sarcophagus.
Like an elevator, or do I see a spiral set of stairs?
If you're right up at the sarcophagus, you can look in and see the spiral set of stairs, that the disc that they're on becoming the spiral set of stairs as it stretches down because of their weight. And if you're not right up against it, it looks elevatory.
I think when we moved the disc out of the way, did we put it on the ground?
The disc did not move out of the way. The disc is in place. It is part of the interior of the sarcophagus.
I mean the lid. Sorry.
What do you guys choose?
Yeah. If it wasn't all the way to the ground, I think he would go ahead and put it all the way to the ground. And the lid is where it had the 3 heads on it, right?
Correct.
I think he would sit there and struggle for a second to see if he could just lift the side of it and look at the bottom of it. Was there any drawing words or anything like that on the bottom of this lid?
There were not that you can recall.
Okay. But yeah, I think he would move it completely like to the floor, so that it can't be easily pushed to trap them inside, since it took so much to get them off. He's worried about that. But once he feels comfortable with that, he'd kind of holler down and say, "Hey, do you need me to get this dinosaur for you, or he's just going to stay and wait?"
Yeah, he won't come. He won't come down into the dark. He's an outside. He'll look after himself. He knows how to look after himself.
Okay, cool. Well, then 1, 2, 3, Geronimo, and he kind of like vaults right over the top of it and kind of lands at the top of the stairs. And would go ahead.
Down at the bottom of the stairs.
No. Oh, okay. Sorry. I landed at the top of the stairs.
Right.
Cool.
And down at the bottom of the stairs, able to, let's see, I'll move that. Den and Quinn, you are able to watch as it continues to stretch out and stretch out and stretch out until you are placed at the bottom, more than 40 feet down into the ground as this continues to spiral and stretch out. It is pitch black down here.
I think that Den is gonna reach into his robe or coat or whatever he's got on there, and pull out what we may remember as my marionette, which he has fastened to. Like, he's replaced one of the sticks with his wand on the marionette, so that he can keep it with him while he's spellcasting, and he illuminates the head.
As soon as you illuminate the head, outside, across from you, 5 feet away from you, is a humanoid with a spear.
Oh, good. Um, I think I'm just going to motion. You're at the top of the stairs. You have 40 feet to climb down. It's like, hey, whoa.
I think that's what's happening right now. Is he's kind of marching down the stairs, and he's talking about all the good stuff that's definitely down here. He's talking about, oh man, we can find. He's talking about how he's found all this cool stuff and how normal stuff can actually be really sweet stuff, and this place is probably full of it, and it's all theirs. And that's when he rounds the corner, and he's right behind him.
And then, as you're trying to get a hold of Flu, Quinn, you're able to take a longer look at it, and to you, it looks like a long dead corpse set into the wall, holding that spear, looking right into this way. You can see that where you are is a space that you guys are crammed into, no wider than 5 by 5. But in that 5 by 5 space, directly in front of you, the only way out of it is some sort of hallway. You can see looking at this corpse holding the spear. It's at the edge. Like there's a turn right here that starts to lead down what looks like it could be a hallway, and you even notice like an open entryway leading off to the left, and so you assume that there's a hallway in front of you, running side to side, and then taking a turn away from you.
So, Quinn would feign a scream, and he would turn back to you guys, and he would say, it looks like your mother. And then he'd go, just kidding. It's a statue.
Cool stuff. And let's pause there for a quick 5-minute break. Looks like your mother.
Gavin back at us for the body comment up top.
Take a break.
All right. Now I finally get to use my notes. Here we go, boys. Hold on to your butts, buckaroos. I am really, really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited for what you guys are about to run into, what you're about to do. I also love this character of Lyra that exists now. Come on, Caleb. Oh. All right. Where are the Barb Devils?
Shh, be very, very quiet. He hasn't just told us what the monsters are.
I don't like the sound of that. Unless it's just devils that look like Barb from Stranger Things.
That's funny. Thank you. They do now. Here we go. I can't put it there. You can see there, can't you? You can't. Sweet. Let's see. Can I go with this? I can. All right. Pay no attention to that brick wall. All right. I haven't had real hair to comb in ages until I grew last year's beard. I'm not letting it go and making up for lost time. Hold on. I got this one spot right here. It's like, I'm going to go gray before everything else. Or white.
No, man, I know the feeling. I get white, white patches here. You can probably almost see that one. Yeah, you get white patches here. And errant white. And it's like, I'm only in my 30s. Go away.
Dude, this year I turned 35. Oh. Yuck. Statistically, I've already lived half my life. More of it, even. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Don't tell my family.
I know we are sort of in bullet time here. I was curious if we talked about it a little bit, and I sort of forgot about it. Then I was looking. My background feature here, is there anything that could be helpful information, because it does say that when I enter a ruin or dungeon, I can ascertain its original purpose or the builders and the builders. That's the only part that's relevant now.
Okay, so
It might be possible I don't know both of the answers, but is there anything that I do know?
Builders, as in you can tell this is human architecture.
Okay, so I already feel better because that's check that off the list as one of the telltale signs of this old human hero, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
And you were like, this is supposed to be a crypt. I mean, this holds signs of being a crypt, but this is not ornate enough for what Zilch was letting us believe on. And then all of a sudden, like secret entrance into it. Yep, this is what I'm looking for. So the above part is a secret entrance into what you're now getting super excited about. Not just like, hey, cool stuff. Like you were really, really like underestimating what is about to be down here, because now you're like, holy crap, they literally created a false crypt for the main crypt. Yes.
Sweet.
And,
I think just while we're down here, he's going to be actively looking for anything to read on the wall.
Okay. So right now, you're all still kind of crammed into that 5x5 area at the bottom of the steps. What do you do?
So you said that the statue with the spears went towards us, and that there was like a corridor leading past it, or something.
Yeah, let me see if I can give you just a quick little sketch, so I don't have to show you my map. Here's your quick little sketch. That's as if you're standing in that 5-foot, 5x5 area. There's the dude with the spear. There's the
I can't see any of that.
You can't see any of it?
No.
How about that? Does that help?
Vaguely.
So here's the exit for you to get out of here. There it is. You can assume that the hallway continues this way, and walking that way down the corridor, there's the wall that follows the corridor and the ceiling getting lower. So instead of the 5-foot-by-5 exit being at the very edge, being able to look straight down the alleyway or down the hallway, you're literally like 1 5-foot square over.
I guess I would start walking down the corridor.
Are you gonna take a right turn, or do you want to go straight down the corridor you can see?
I'll go to where it's going downwards, or
Okay. What are the rest of you doing once he steps off?
I'm going to follow along and try and keep close enough that he can make use of the light.
Okay.
He's leading.
Yeah, I think the Flu lingers a little bit looking at this statue in the wall or whatever it is with the spear pointing out at him, even to the point where the light eventually kind of starts to get a little dimmer, maybe not out of range or anything, but he looks at it and he's just kind of if the camera could pan around and you could see his face, he has got this massive grin and his eyes are open and his eyes are almost watering. He's so excited. And he casts Detect Magic.
Oh, okay. So, crap. I don't want to ask questions and give away what's going on. Give me just a second. Cool. So you're still just standing there as the group is moving on down that hall, right?
Right. And for what it's worth, he's going to cast Detect Magic. Specifically, he's checking these warriors in the wall. That way you don't have to dive too far. He's just so very excited.
Okay.
That he's like, well, all right. He's it's kind of like tuning a guitar. That's what he's doing here.
Okay. I'll give you this. Directly across from you, that dude lights up.
Awesome. And that's kind of what he says to himself is, yo, okay.
I'm going to be rich.
He's like, yes, okay. And then he would...
The whole guy, not just like portions of him. Whole dude lights up.
Sure. And I think Detect Magic concentration lasts up to 10 minutes. Because he can do this all willy-nilly, it seems like. I won't hold concentration.
Okay.
I think he's, like I say, I think he's hitting his tuning or blowing into the thing to see if his thing is on pitch. You know, his Detect Magic is working. He's like, okay, cool. And then he's ready to go on the dive.
Reflex save, Caleb. Reflex save from Flu.
Reflex?
Dex.
Oh, I thought you were making a funny joke. Dex save. 12.
The stairs behind you begin to rise as soon as you stepped off, and the distraction of and excitement of what you have seen causes you to miss as you realize what's happening. You reach out to try to catch the steps, and you miss, and the steps continue to go up.
Unless this has made a great deal of noise, I would assume that the light has kind of wandered off, and Flu's standing there in the dark just watching this happen, and he's kind of looking around. So he's like, oh boy. Okay. So, and he looks back at the figure on the wall, and he says, you got my back. Guys, hey, wait up.
So you guys, as you hear, hey, guys, wait up. You've not made it too far down the hall, only about 15 feet. And you come to, there's an open entry on your left. And then on your right, about 5 foot, there is a big locked door on your right. And about another 15 feet down the hall, there's another entryway that seems to have a door on it to the left as well. In fact, cool. Quinn and Den both, you can hear the sounds of movement as you come up to that open doorway on your left, and then the sound stops.
Okay. So there's movement, and then there was nothing. I would pause for a moment and press myself up against the door, like my ear.
There's no doorway. It is just an entryway.
Just an entryway.
There is excuse me. It is a there is a door, but it's laying flat down on the inside. You notice that the hinges are missing.
Okay. Turn around, go. Guys, be ready for whatever might come, you know? And I step into the room.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Den's following with the light, so he doesn't get too surprised, or so we're surprised together. If
All right. And Flu, you are also going to be available.
Yeah, I am. I'll follow in pretty close. As he does, he kind of like pats his chest, beats his chest, and takes a deep breath. And when he comes back down, he's almost got like smoke coming off where he patted himself on the chest. And I'm going to use my other evocation to gain some temp hit points.
Okay. How many are you getting?
6.
Okay. All right. Entry look into the room. This room has what looks to be a lot of decayed furniture, as if it was a room intended for a scribe. In the far corner to your left, the room is only about 2 feet, or excuse me, 10 feet wide from entryway to the wall across from you. However, it is 30 feet long from the wall to your right, which is only a couple of feet away, to the other wall on the far left away that's about 27 feet. In the far corner, there is what looks to be the remains of a desk, some ruined books, and a lamp sitting in its laying in its own oil.
So Flu is going to walk over to the desk and see if there are drawers or cabinets, or he's basically investigating the desk to see what's in it, if there's anything special about it.
All right. When you get over to the desk, a large, it looks like the oil reaches out to swing at you.
You guys see that?
Yeah, mate. I think I do.
And that is a 19 to hit.
hey, you should put that D20 away. Get like an old one out.
Okay, I have another one that I think I've never rolled, so I'll use it next. You take 5 bludgeoning damage plus 1 point of acid damage as the oil begins to expand, taking up a large amount of that far wall. Roll initiative. All right. I love laugh. Oh no. See, I switched D20s. And you guys. Oh no.
Oh God, no! Matt wins. Golf scores, right?
Oh no.
I actually think it's 4. 4. Yes, 4.
Oh.
I rolled a 1 and I have +3. So I go in last because I rolled a 1.
All right. So right in front of you, flew. That thing just swung at you, and it looks like the puddle is attacking. But that puddle is now expending itself into taking up a lot of space. And you're up because it rolled poorly as well.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So I guess let me just double check. Yeah. So how close is everybody else to me?
The room is at most is only 30 feet, and you're 20, about 25, 27 feet into the long way of the room.
Okay, so realistically, they're not that close to me.
But everybody's pretty much within range of basic spells.
Sure. I think sort of reactively, first thing he does is he draws out his sword, his short sword, and it's smoking as it always is. And he kind of rears back like he's going to attack, but before he does, the crystal that's hanging around his neck sort of, it's this deep blue, almost purple. It has this bright blue light that sort of lights up real quickly. And as he comes down before he can swing, this energy sort of bursts out from around him. I'm going to cast Arms of Hadar. Tendrils batter all creatures within 10 feet of you. They must make a strength save. On a fail, it takes 2d6 necrotic and can't take reactions until its next turn. On a success, it takes half damage.
Okay, it failed. It got a 7.
All right, 2d6. That is 7 necrotic.
Okay.
And as these tendrils sort of warp back into him, and it's sort of this big puff of smoke, and when the smoke dissipates away from him, he looks a little different. Flew, his face is elongated just a little bit, and his knees or his legs seem longer, but he's not any taller because his knees, he's almost in like a crouch stance at all times up on the balls of his feet. And I will use a bonus action to shift.
All right.
Which gives me some temp HP that I'll roll in a second. And I think he's actually going to use his movement, since this thing can't take reactions, and sort of back off like 15 feet from this thing, just with his sword out, still kind of smoking, but more mousy. Also, the thing that I like is his hair, which has been pointed back in this bright orange red. Kind of, it's like Goku going Super Saiyan 4 or whatever when he gets the big long hair, except it's not that big. It hits him about the shoulders, but it's still spiked back. But his hair grows out, and what you see behind his left ear, let's say, is the hair kind of grows down, and it's the only part of his hair that he has that actually has a braid in it.
All right. Den.
All right. So
It's about 20. It's like within 25 feet of you, and with the way that Flu has moved, he's within 5 of you.
I think that Dan is going to maybe take a step back and cast Minor Illusion to create a copy of that statue that we saw earlier in the room, hoping to make this thing a little confused about who's in there attacking it.
Okay.
And he's gonna look over and ask, should we burn it? The oil, the oil monster. I'm a little concerned about how close you are to it right now, but
I backed off of it.
Where did you put the minor illusion?
I'm thinking kind of like to the side of Flu, like far enough away that it would be if I mean I don't know how this thing experiences vision, but if it had like two eyes and was looking at Flu, it would be like just on in its peripheral, but closer to it.
Okay. The oil puddle begins to move closer, and it moves right through that illusion. Almost like there's not a hiccup to the way it moves. It moves through it as if it does not even realize that it's there, and goes after Flu because Flu is in front. And it's going to go after you again with that puddle pod. Shoot, I switched dice. That's a nat 20. And I rolled crap for damage again. So it's going to be 15 bludgeoning damage as it comes moving up, smacks you real hard, and 12 acid.
Are you saying 27 total damage there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Flu's down.
Quinn.
All right. Well, seeing this thing, just move up and extend this, inky substance and smash his friend with it, and just he instantly falls unconscious. Quinn is incredibly concerned. Quinn will move up to him and use healing touch. And so I'm going to spend a hit die.
Oh, that's right. You've got the mark too.
And I'm going, so it's my hit die plus my wisdom modifier. So a total of 11. So, yeah, Quinn moves up to you and will just like kind of almost half kneel and put his hands on you, and his hair will sort of like, and he'll look up and he'll say, he'll say, "G'day, spirits of the tomb." It's been a while since I spoke to you, but my friend here might need some help. Please take from my life force and breathe life into him.
And you feel that your own life energy pours into Flu.
Indeed. That's my turn.
All right. Flu, some exterior power is fueling your life energy, causing you to feel like you can keep going.
Yeah, I think maybe it even catches him like on the way down. like he's standing there dealing with this as he starts to fall over, and that's when he gets this energy or whatever and almost rights him. He sort of catches his footing because he is no longer shifted.
No. What do you do with your turn?
It's my turn already?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Shit. I didn't realize that.
There's only the 4 of us.
Yeah, I think what... I'm going to take a 5... Well, I guess... So I would like to reposition. If right now I'm right next to this thing, is Quinn on my side or is he behind me?
I've come right up to adjacent to the creature as well.
Okay.
Bummer.
No, that's fine. I think what he's going to do is he's going to... I guess he's just got to take a slash at this thing. That's not true. I'll take the disengage action, and I will back up so that I am 15 feet away from it on either side, if that's possible.
There's not room to be 15 feet away from it unless you go out in the hallway.
All right, then I'll go as far as I can. How far can I go? 10 feet?
You went away 15?
Yes.
You've got 5 feet left behind you.
Okay. Then I will disengage and go there.
Okay.
Or can I run around its other side, disengage from there, and keep moving? And gain my 15 feet back the other direction?
There's only 10 feet left behind it.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Then yeah, I'll step off, giving this oil thing someone else to hit for a round. But yeah, that'll be. I guess that yeah, I'll disengage there. I don't have any fun bonus actions to do this time, so he is going to end his turn.
Okay. 10.
So does anybody think it's a good idea to blast this thing with fire? Did anybody respond to that, or should I just do a magic missile here?
I don't think anyone responded to it.
Because I feel like Flu might be covered in oil at this point.
I mean, but Flu is definitely leading the set this thing on fire charge. If you're going to ask him now, last time he was knocked out, he couldn't say anything.
So I think that Din's going to make eye contact with Quinn to ask for approval to burn this thing. You give him a nod. Yeah. So so with the marionette dangling from his wand, he kind of shakes it, and the marionette does a little front dance, falling back into place, and he casts Firebolt, which is 1d10. I have to make a ranged spell attack.
Come on, my big money.
That is a 19 on the dice. So, yeah. Then a d10. I have one of those out somewhere. That's a 10. Ooh, yeah.
Good deal. It takes every last bit of that 10. However, oddly, you don't watch it catch fire. That puts the ooze up next. And it is going to go after the person that is closest to it. Quinn, it's coming after you. Making that amazing attack roll. As it looked, you just healed it. The other target was going after. Now it's you, so it's just swinging, flailing away. And that is only going to be a 12 to hit. So that's going to be a big no, right?
That's correct.
Good. It's a big no. And it is going to stay there. Quinn, it is your turn.
All right. I will interact with my weapon, my first weapon, draw it. I will attack with my action. It hasn't hit me yet, so I only got a 12.
That'll hit.
So this is going to be slashing damage with my hand axe, and it's going to be 6 slashing.
All right. And as you hit it, it splits into 2.
Mm-hmm.
So now there are 2 instead of one large oil puddle monster. There are now 2 medium-sized oil puddled monsters.
Yep.
Flu.
I think Flu. He's going to kind of pump himself up. He's going to use his action to give himself some more bonus hit points. And I think that's also going to be. Can I move like to my left or right at all?
You can move to your left.
Okay. I won't move then. Yeah, so that'll be my turn.
Okay. Den.
So there's 2 of them now.
There's 2 of them, and they are medium-sized.
I'm going to go ahead and keep the firebolt train rolling here. After that hit so well, he's feeling good about it. So he's going to finesse the puppet a little more this time because he thought it looked cool the first time, but I'll see how it goes. Another 19 on the dice.
You'll hit.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, only 2 on the dice for damage.
All right. And 1 is going to stick right there with Quinn. And yeah, 11 on the dice. Not this time. But the other one, however, is going to move around Quinn over to Den. And because of how close together you are, it's not being able to move away from Quinn. So, Den, next one comes after you. And this is the one you just hit. That is a 15 total.
That'll do it.
All right. And that is 10 bludgeoning damage plus 2 more acid.
That puts me at 2. What does acid do special? Anything? Just
it's a way to flavor damage, and it's
Okay,
a way to
cool.
overcome damage resistance.
I just want to make sure it wasn't like cutting through something or whatever.
We can flavor it and be like, as it comes out and splashes up against you, you can feel as your skin burns. Portions of your clothes you can see little holes start to begin to.
And the acid heals you a little bit, maybe. Yeah.
Not today.
Then
Quinn, your
looks
turn.
hurt.
Quinn would interact with his second weapon,
Okay.
drawing it, and and he would turn to hit the one that just attacked his friend.
Okay.
Not caring about the one that's attacking himself at this stage because it still hasn't hit him yet. So my first attack roll is a 18.
That'll hit.
And that will be for 7 points of slashing damage.
Oh, slashing damage?
That's all I can do.
All right. And
will it split again? Or can I make a second attack at it?
it does split again.
All right, I
There
will.
are 2 small ones and
Yeah.
a medium one.
I will just attack one of the small ones.
All right.
With a 24.
You will hit.
And that will be 5 points of slashing damage.
All right. This time you seem to get seen. It does not split, but you still feel as if you are doing about as much to it as causing it to split.
Okay. That's Quinn's turn.
Flew.
With his sword in hand, I think he's gonna. Are the small ones near me or close enough to me for me to attack?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a slash. That's not gonna do it. I have a 9 total.
It'll hit.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, damn it. It is a short sword, so I believe I also do slashing, if that means anything. That will be 10 damage.
You hit it, but it seems completely ineffective.
Ineffective, huh?
Den. Oh, do you want to move or anything? Or
No, I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Den. You are currently engaged with one of the critters. Actually, with there's 2 small
Two
ones.
small
Okay?
ones. Yeah. Moving out of their range is
Going to draw 2 attacks.
drawing attacks. Yeah, so I am just gonna.
And
When you
have
said
you have disadvantage on an attack roll if you are within 5 feet of an aggressive target or of a hostile target.
well, that's good because I'm going to cast Magic Missile, and I don't have to do an attack roll. Aiming to hit these small ones. One with 2 of the darts, and the other with 1.
Okay.
Oh crap!
I just looked over at the chat. That was funny. Take a picture of dead me in GTFO.
All right, so I hit the singular one with 5, and the double with 8 damage.
What do you mean the singular one and the double?
I was hitting one of the small ones with 1 dart and the other small one with 2 darts.
All right. You drop one of them, and one is, you can see that part of the puddle is beginning to dissipate, but it is still clinging to oozy movingness. And the small one is going to go after you, Quinn. The one remaining. Yes! 9. And the medium one continues to swing at you. Or sorry. Yeah, now the next. Wait, I just said the small one. Cool, so the medium one goes after Quinn too. Because it can't go after Dan. 16.
16 hits.
It's 7 points of bludgeoning, 6 acid.
All right. Okay.
Let's see. From where you are, Quinn, with your passive perception, you can see across the way in the corner of the room, over in the decrepit writing desk, you think you see 2 potions.
Okay.
Quinn, it is your turn.
I don't really have anything that's better than. I don't have any other weapons.
You have fists.
Yeah, that do a single point of damage.
It's a single point plus your strength, right?
Nope.
Oh.
Plus my strength is only 1, as in +1.
Improvised weapons?
Yeah, I was thinking torch. So I will interact with my offhand weapon, putting it away. Can I use like an action to draw my other weapon? To draw a torch?
Sure. You flip that back around and pull out a torch.
Then as a bonus action, I will rage.
Okay.
So I will pull out the torch and I will hold it up and I will say, "G'day again, spirits of the ancestors. This is Quinn here. I'm getting hurt, but I reckon if I use fire, I can dish out your justice to this foul abomination that I see before me."
This wicked ink monster.
Wicked ink monster. As Drew taunts you for that, it's his turn. Wicked ink monster, what are you talking to?
So are any let me read a spell description real fast because I think that's what I'm going to do. All right. So again, let's see.
Cast Ragtime Gal.
Yeah. It's a cantrip. Frogs appear and dance when you're not
Distracted by a frog with a top hat on.
The whole point is you can't see it. When it's looking, it doesn't do it.
Is this specific ink blot Rorschach monster? Is it right next to me, 5 feet?
That one is dead.
Okay, so then I will definitely do this. As before, he takes his offhand and sort of reaches up to the crystal, and this blue string connects to his hand. He spins it around, whips, and tries to lasso this thing with his lightning lure. It needs to make a strength save. DC 13.
It's got a 14.
Very good. That's nothing happens.
All right.
Good for everyone involved. Me specifically. I'm gonna stay exactly as yeah, I'll stay exactly as I wish I had that flail. Damn it.
Well, then, Den, it's your turn.
Never gonna need that flail. Never use it.
I'm over here going, when he was saying that, I'm like, "Don't show it in your
Just keep
face.
it. It's fine.
Don't show it in your face. You sure you want to throw that? Okay.
So am I still engaged with that thing since it attacked
Yes.
Quinn?
One of the small ones are still next to you. But
Okay, so it's just a distance thing. It's not a
right.
Okay. Well,
And you know that the ooze goes after you.
right.
And your halfling friend is over there just like losing his shit.
Yeah. I'll cast Magic Missile again.
All right.
See some damage here. Aiming for can I see what the damage rolls are first?
You know for certain, with as well as you've been hitting it, that other one won't take much to kill it. The small one won't, but the medium one is going strong.
Okay, so I will do 4 damage with 1 dart to the small one.
It died.
And 6 damage with the other 2 darts to the medium one.
All right. It's hurting, but it's holding on, and it's turn. However, it is going to begin to move around to get to you. Din, here it comes. That's a 22 to hit you.
Oh, I'm gonna die.
That is going to be 6, 7, 8 bludgeoning, 3 poison, or 3 acid. Excuse me.
How many points can I go past 0?
Oh, tons. You just got to start making death saving throws.
Okay.
That's not necessarily
I'll
true,
do that
right?
soon.
If he took half of his damage negative, he's dead.
But it's total in one hit, right?
Right. What if that just happened?
How much did you say? 8 and...
It was 8 and... I don't remember what the other one is. I just moved the dice. Like 2 or 3.
Because that's pretty close.
Because if it was 8 and 2, I just died.
Really?
Yeah, really. Dead.
Dead. He's dead.
Oh,
You didn't scale this back enough, apparently.
you told me not to.
Damn right.
Damn right.
Well,
Okay.
it's first death for every game.
Are you serious? Oh my god.
Yeah.
You literally are.
Yeah.
What are you going to do without
I
you
was
now?
at 2, and I have 14 max.
No, it's not. Drops him to negative.
-8 is more than half.
No, but that's not it. I'll come back to you. I know you're not dead.
This is a magical room where you don't die in it.
Hey, if this is a crypt, and that's
Maybe-
true, there's a lot
maybe-
more crap you're about to run into.
Maybe my necromantic book kept me alive somehow.
Probably not.
I don't
No,
think so.
it's damage equaling or exceeding your hit point maximum, not half your hit point.
Okay,
Oh man.
good. So I'm
So-
at -8 instead of.
So
You're at
make
zero.
Instead of dead.
You're at 0, and if you take 14,
Oh, okay. If I take 14 while I'm prone. Okay.
So make a death saving throw now, because it's your. Or no, it's not your turn. It's Quinn's turn. Quinn, do your thing.
Do a thing.
There's only one left, and it's the medium one.
Yep. So I will light. Can I light as a bonus action? I have no idea. Is it an action to light?
I'll let you say yes for a hero point.
Sure, I'll spend a hero point on that. So I light it as a hero point, and I will attack.
So tell me the epicness of you lighting this torch as you prepare to attack with it.
Tell you the which, sorry?
The epicness, because this is so much more than going flint and steel. Hold on, like what do you do with this?
Yeah, so yeah, I see this, like he was holding it up, right? And he was talking to the ancestors again. Yeah, so what he does is he just sort of he flips it up in the air and puts his and then quickly puts his head in his pocket, grabs out the flint and tinder, flips it up in the air, and it just sparks in the air. And then he catches it again, and the flint and tinder just tumbles to the ground. Then he's going to attack with it.
Go for it.
All right.
Straight like a club.
22 as a club.
Yep. So you'll hit it.
For 4 points of damage plus whatever fire.
Okay. It bursts up, but is still holding on for dear life. And flew. Sorry. Move.
No, I won't move. That's okay. That'll be it.
Okay. Flew, you're up.
What's in this room that Flu can get to and use as a weapon?
On the other side of the room is a decrepit desk, and there is a you see a leg there that looks like you could grab onto it. To that writing table.
There's not like a conveniently placed coat rack next to me? No? Okay.
No.
Damn. What about like
It's all these spikes on it.
Here.
Is there like a magic torch on the wall?
There's not a magic torch on the wall. In fact, with a quick look around the room, everything metal in this room is gone.
Okay.
Spend a hero point. What do you want?
So yeah, okay, cool. I'll spend a hero point here. I think that's a cool idea. I think all the metal stuff is gone, but there is this there's this vase that's kind of near him, and it's got this sort of geometric design carved into the outside and bits of paint and things like that. But it's super weathered. So instead of having, what's that?
2,600 years old.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Where it used to have like bumps and ridges, and you could like feel the design and everything. Now it's pretty flush, but you could see what was there. I mean, it's not like it's been eroded by wind or anything in this cave, as far as we know. But he picks it up and he looks at it. And so would this be an improvised weapon then?
Yeah.
Cool. I think he's what is this thing? What is it called? So another part of my background allows me to identify let's see. In addition, I can determine monetary value of art objects more than a century-year-old. So what art object is this thing? Like, even if it's just a trash can.
This is a vase from before the founding of the country. So this is pre-Carnap art.
So he picks it up and he looks at it, and he looks down at this ink puddle. He says, "This is a priceless heirloom, bro," and he spikes it down on this thing.
Hold on, you didn't do it in the accent.
Hey, this is a priceless heirloom, bro. Yo, smash.
Right.
Let's see here. Man, I hope this hits.
Improvised is disadvantage, right?
I have no idea. I will take your.
Never had in all my games someone used an improvised weapon.
Here you go.
I couldn't call it something else.
So that is a 9. Did that hit? That hit last time.
9 hits, yes.
Awesome. So what, a D4?
Yep.
Plus strength?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I rolled a 2. That means it does 1 damage. But what I would like to do is I would like to cast Wrathful Smite.
Okay.
Because I'm so very mad that I had to destroy this thing.
Maybe you hit it as hard as you can and the vase just doesn't break. You barely hit it.
I couldn't bring myself to actually do it.
Yeah, you like pulled it.
So next time you hit with a melee weapon attack, which is this, hopefully that's what this is, I deal an extra D6 of psychic damage.
Is that the next time that you hit, or does this one count as that?
It's a smite. It's like any smite. It's a bonus action, so I can do it.
Okay.
When I do this thing.
So then get that D6 rolling.
Or if for the right, I could have cast Wrathful Smite beforehand. That's the whole reason I was doing this thing, I guess.
Okay.
And I hit whatever you want the fiction to be.
That's all right.
But it needs to pass a Wisdom save, DC 13.
Oh, you are so freaking lucky. I rolled a 14 on the dice. It has a -2.
Perfect. So
failure.
I thought it was going to be fine, but if it can be, it is frightened of me.
Does it do any extra damage?
Yeah, the D6. Sorry. D6 psychic is 4 psychic damage.
And it dies.
Oh, I'm so upset.
This belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
And so now you guys stand in this eerie quiet. The last thing you hear is the smashing of this 2,600-year-old pre-founding of the country vase.
Yeah, I think Den kind of lifts his head up just a little bit and said, "We could have took a picture of that vase." And just
Did anybody
drops back down.
Den, death save.
Yeah, you don't say anything to me.
That is my first failure.
Uh-oh. All right, Quinn.
Sorry, yep.
You you do remember I told you earlier you see what looks to be 2 potions over in that writing desk across the room.
Yeah. All right. But one of us is down, like unconscious at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So Medicine check. So what does medicine check actually allow us to do?
You can stabilize a dying creature.
Perfect. I will. Number one, I have a healer's kit. Number two, I have medical intuition. So I get to roll an extra D4 on my medicine check.
Are you proficient with the healer's kit?
I sure am.
Okay. So then it's proficiency then. No, but you're doing medicine, not the healer's kit. Cool. And you have hero points.
I'm at 18.
That's enough. He stabilizes, so he's at 0.
Okay.
The
So
DC
it'll
10 to stabilize.
Cool. So I've obviously spent my time doing that. That was pretty much, I've gotten the healer's kit out. I've mixed a brew, spread it on the wound, bandaged it, all that sort of stuff.
All right. So that's done. Before we end for the night, would you guys like to look in this room, except for you, Den, who is still unconscious?
Yes. I think he's sort of on his knees, kind of in non-belief or disbelief of this shattered thing. And that's when he kind of has that realize, putting two and two together, like you said. All the metal's missing, which he would bring up, but then kind of have a second burst of energy. He's excited about the fact that he did still find this amazing piece. So that means maybe there's more in here. So yeah, I'll look around.
Okay. Just go ahead and make a perception roll for me.
And I'll cast Detect Magic as well.
Okay.
Perception is 23.
Okay, with your perception, looking around the room, you spot those 2 potions. One of the potions looks standard red, but the jar or the glass that it's in definitely looks super old. And then another one that you can see on this glass vial. It is you can see the way that it was blown. There is what looks to be as part of the glass, a man on the side of a cliff, facing it and going up. You also find a small wooden box, smaller than small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, and you find where did it go? And you find something glowing. Only to your detect magic, though.
Is it a shape of any kind?
Yes. And let me go get where I put it. So I'll tell you what it is in just a moment, and we will go ahead and end in this room. Yeah. We'll pick it up next time we meet. Thank you guys for playing. That was a pretty awesome fight. And I look forward to what you guys do with the few remaining hit points some of you have in the rest of this crypt of Rena de Deneath. See you later. Let me go get